Good morning, students. This is Junior Economics. So previously we discussed about economics definitions, deductive method and inductive method. So present we are discussing about economics is either positive science or normative science. So generally economics is both arts and science. Some economics explain economics is arts, some of the economics explain economics is science, but actually economics is both arts and science. Again, economics is either positive science or normative science, either positive economics or normative economics. So present positive economics. So Robbins explained economics is a positive economics. In his opinion, economics always explain how can we solve the problems faced by society. So generally present society facing so many economical problems, that is scarcity of resources or poverty, unemployment, income inequalities, so many things. So economics can explain, provide different type of solution faced by society. So in his opinion, economics is a positive economics. So it always concentrate on causes and effects. Causes and effects. So because of this cause, this effect arises. For example, when we observe law of demand. So according to law of demand, other things remaining constant. When price increases, quantity demand decreases. That means here increase in the price is the cause. Decrease in the demand is effect. That means causes and effects. And in his opinion, economics always explains about causes and effects. And because of this cause, this effect arises. So that is causes and effects. So deals with realistic situations. And it explains realistic. For example, when price increases, its quantity demand decreases. When price increases, quantity supply also increases. So already we know always negative relationship between price and demand. Always positive relationship between price and supply. So because deals with realistic situations. And realistic, generally when we observe when price increases, automatically quantity demand decreases. When price decreases, its quantity demand automatically increases. It's a common phenomenon. Present we are observing. So verified with actual data. So verified with actual data. So actual data. So already we observed. For example, here price. So when we observe verify with actual data. So here we are observing price of the good. Here quantity demand. For example, at the time of 5 rupees price, the quantity demand is one commodity. So at the time of 4 rupees, the price is, the quantity demand is two commodities. So generally when we observe this table, we can easily observe when the price decreases continuously, quantity demand increases continuously. So that is verified with actual data. Again, it is a neutral between ends. That means Robbins explained economics is always neutral between ends. Already I told economics never explains is it good or it is bad. Always neutral between ends. Why? Because when we observe in our society, a few goods can promote the welfare, a few goods can destroy the welfare. But economics explains even commodity. When a commodity having price, supply, demand, when any commodity having price, demand and supply, that commodity can be explained by economics. Maybe that commodity can promote the welfare or destroy the welfare. That is another thing. So that means always in his opinion, economics is neutral between ends. So chemistry is one of the examples for positive economics. So chemistry is one of the best example for When price increases, its quantity demand decreases. When price decreases, its quantity demand increases. So this is positive economics explained by Robbins. Okay. Again, normative economics. So previously we discussed about positive economics. Again, normative economics. So Alfred Marshall explained economics is a normative economics. And in his opinion, economics is normative economics. That means economics, how an economic problem should be solved. Means economics explain the causes and economics can provide solutions also. So, and how an economic problem should be solved can be explained with the help of normative economics. And in his opinion, economics is a normative economics. So, it is based on ethics and value judgments. In his opinion, here, for example, previous economics, that is positive economics, in that we observe that is causes and effects. But here in normative economics, this economics always concentrate based on the ethics and value judgment. Ethics, that is which is good. So how we can solve the problems in a proper manner? So in a ethics, that means it uses ethics. For example, previously we observed Robbins explained economics is neutral between ends. Economics never explains is it good, is it bad. But he explained economics is a normative economics. So always it is based on ethics and value judgment. So it always value judgment. Already we know economics not only explain the problems and also economics can provide solutions also. So ideal situation. So it is ideal situation. And imagination. Previous realistic situation, it is idealistic situation. Why? Because just we are imagining. So that is normative economics. That means Alfred Marshall explained economics with normative economics, but Robbins explained economics is a positive economics. So this is the simple positive economics and normative economics. So, next our topic is theory of consumer behavior. Theory of consumer behavior. So consumer means who consumes goods and services to satisfy his wants are known as consumer. So generally every consumer consume different goods and services to satisfy his wants or her wants. So how the consumer behave at the time of consumption? So that is consumer behavior. Okay. Here first one is utility. So utility means any commodity wants satisfaction is known as the utility. So automatically when we use or when we consume a commodities, so these commodities gives utility. For example, when I purchase one book, it gives some utility for me. So when I purchase a shirt, it gives some utility for me. So want satisfaction capacity is known as the utility. So generally we are getting utility in different ways, from goods or from services, from other activities. Oh. So that is utility. So this utility can be explainable in different ways. First of all, Alfred Marshall explained cardinal utility. So utility means want satisfaction capacity. So when we use goods or services for satisfaction of our wants, automatically we get utility. So this utility can be explained in different ways by different economists. So Alfred Marshall explained cardinal utility analysis. In his opinion, when we purchase any commodity, when we consume any commodity, that commodity utility can be measured numerically. So that is cardinal utility. That means Alfred Marshall explained when we consume a commodity, its utility can be measured numerically. For example, one apple gives 10 rupees utility, one mango gives 5 rupees utility, one glass milk gives 25 rupees utility. So that means every commodity utility can be measured numerically. So that is cardinal utility analysis. For example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So these are the cardinal numbers. So that means with the help of these numbers we can measure utility. Simply, in his opinion, every commodity utility can be measured numerically. 4 rupees, 5 rupees, 10 rupees, like. And of course, already it is imagination. Already utility is a subjective concept. Just we are imagining. So just for example, when I purchase one apple, it gives 10 rupees utility. When I purchase one shirt, it gives 20 rupees utility. The imagination. But Albert Marshall explained any commodity utility can be measured numerically. So because this is cardinal numbers, that means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are cardinal numbers. In his opinion, every commodity utility can be measured numerically. Later, R.J.D. Allen, Hicks and Allen criticized cardinal numbers are not useful to measure utility. Why? Because utility is a subjective concept. You can't measure utility numerically. So because they explained another numbers, so that is known as the ordinal utility or ordinal numbers or ordinal utility. And here J.R. Hicks and R.J.D. Allen explained utility is a subjective concept. We can't measure utility numerically, but we can measure utility through ranks. I think first rank, second rank, third rank. For example, apple, mango, banana. For example, apple gives more satisfaction than the mango. Mango gives more satisfaction than the banana. So at that time, apple gets first rank, mango gets second rank, banana gets third rank. Like, but we can't say how much quantity. Just rank based on its utility. First rank, second rank, third rank. So because for example, apple gives more utility, so it is first rank. Mango gets less utility when compared with apple, second rank. Banana gives less utility when compared with mango, third rank. So that means here Alfred Marshall explained cardinal utility analysis to explain the consumer behavior. But Hicks and Allen explained ordinal utility analysis to explain the consumer behavior. Anyhow, here two numbers, cardinal numbers and ordinal numbers. So cardinal numbers are used by Alfred Marshall. Ordinal numbers are used by Hicks and Allen. So these different methods to measure or calculate utility analysis. So that is cardinal utility and ordinal utility. So present we are observing definition. Law of diminishing marginal utility. So in the consumer behavior, our first topic is law of diminishing marginal utility. So what is law of diminishing marginal utility? So first of all, already utility means what satisfaction capacity. So here two types of utility: total utility, marginal utility. So total utility means, so total utility is the sum of utility derived from all units of the commodity. So total utility means sum of utility derived from all units of a commodity. For example, any commodity, first unit, second unit, third unit. So when we get utility from entire commodities is known as the total utility. So what is marginal utility? Additional utility is known as the marginal utility. Generally, when we observe, for example, I am consuming apples continuously. First apple gives 10 utility, that is total utility. Second apple gives 15, it is total utility. So here what is marginal utility? 5 utilities. So additional utility is known as the marginal utility. So that means when we get additional utility by consuming one more unit of the commodity is known as the marginal utility. So generally utilities are two types, total utility, marginal utility. So total utility is sum of utility derived from all units of the commodity. So marginal utility is additional unit, additional utility, or the change in total utility by consuming one more unit of the commodity is known as the marginal utility. So that is law of diminishing marginal utility. So generally in this consumer behavior, first topic is law of diminishing marginal utility. So generally law of diminishing marginal utility. So law of diminishing marginal utility. So diminishing is reducing. So marginal utility is additional unit, additional utility. So generally this utility is reducing continuously. So when we observe this definition, we can easily identify what is law of diminishing marginal utility. So here K.E. Bowling gave one definition about law of diminishing marginal utility. So that is, as a consumer increases the consumption of any one commodity, that means when a consumer increasing the consumption of any one commodity, only one type of commodity, keeping the consumption of all other commodities, keeping, and other commodities are not using, so other commodities keeping constant. So only we are consuming only one commodity. For example, here apples, oranges, bananas, sapota, so many fruits are there, but keeping the consumption of other fruits are constant, and we are not using, only we are consuming apples only. So that means only we are consuming apples. So the consumption of other commodities keeping constant. We are not using that commodities. So consumption of all other commodities. The marginal utility of the variable commodity must eventually decline. That means when a consumer consuming one commodity continuously, keeping other commodities constant. When we consume a commodity which continuously, the additional utility will be reduced. So it is consumption of all other commodities. The marginal utility of variable commodity, the marginal utility of variable commodity must eventually decline. So that means simply law of diminishing marginal utility means when we consume one commodity units continuously, keeping the consumption of other commodities constant. So automatically this commodity's marginal utility will be decreasing continuously. For example, when we consume one apple, so its marginal utility is 10 rupees. When we use second one, it gives 7 rupees. When we consume third apple, it gives 5 rupees utility. When we consume fourth, it gives 2 rupees utility. When we consume fifth, it gives only 0 utility. So that means when we consume continuously, automatically additional utility will be decline eventually. So that is law of diminishing marginal utility. So actually H.H. Gaussian in 1854 he explained this law of diminishing marginal utility. Later it was developed by Alfred Marshall. So here already we know every economic theory or economic law of diminishing marginal utility. This law also depends upon some assumption. So present we are observing what are the assumptions for law of diminishing marginal utility. So first one is rationality. And in his opinion, consumer is a rational man. So what is rational man? Always consumer try to get maximum satisfaction with limited resources. For example, always every consumer try to get maximum satisfaction. For example, our students are rational. Always every student try to get maximum marks. No one expect pass marks. Sir, no sir, pass marks are enough. Anybody accept? No. Every student try to get maximum marks. So that is consumer is a rational man. That is rationality. So generally at the time of purchase, at the time of consumption activities, so every consumer try to get maximum satisfaction. This is the first assumption. So when we explain the law of diminishing marginal utility. That means, in his opinion, every commodity utility can be measured numerically. So we can easily compare with other commodities utility. So that means cardinal utility means utility can be measured numerically. So every commodity utility can be measured numerically. Already I told you. One apple gives 10 rupees utility, one mango gives 5 rupees utility, one banana gives 3 rupees utility. Like every commodity utility can be measured numerically. So here also Albert Marshall explained at the time of consumption we can easily measure every commodity utility numerically. So that is utility is independent. Utility is independent. So generally, for explanation of law of diminishing marginal utility, so only taken into account only independent goods. For example, some goods utility depends upon other commodities. So some goods are dependent, some goods are independent. For example, here piece of chalk and board. So both goods are essential to explain my class. So that's why these are dependent goods. These two things are dependent. And without board I can't explain. Without piece of chalk I can't explain. So here goods are dependent each other. Board and piece of chalk. But Albert Marshall explained if any commodity taken into account as an example, so that commodity utility can be independent, and that commodity utility never depends upon any other commodity. For example, apple. Apple utility gives it independently. That apple utility never depends upon any another commodity. So commodity here utility is independent. That means any commodity utility is independent. They never depends upon any other commodities. Money marginal utility is constant. So Albert Marshall explained money marginal utility is constant. And generally in the case of goods and services, in the case of things or in the case of goods, when we consume a commodity utility continuously, so automatically reduces. But marginal utility of money is always constant. So next is homogeneous. Here to explain the law of diminishing marginal utility, we are using different commodities. But every commodity is homogeneous. For example, for explanation of law of diminishing marginal utility, we take apples as an example. So in this apple, every apple has same utility, that is same quality, same quantity. There is no difference between one quantity and another quantity. There is no difference between one commodity quantity to other commodity quantity. There is no difference between one commodity taste and other commodity taste. And every commodity is homogeneous. And every commodity are having same quality, same quantity, same taste. Everything is same. There is no difference between one commodity to another commodity in the case of quality or in the case of quantity or in the case of taste. So that is known as homogeneous commodities. So next one is no time gap. For the explanation of this law of diminishing marginal utility, so there is no time gap between the consumption of one commodity to another commodity. For example, when we maintain a long gap between one consumption to another consumption, we can't express law of diminishing marginal utility. For example, present I consume one apple. After 1 minute again I consume another one apple. After 1 minute again I consume one apple. So in this situation I can easily explain how much utility derived from first apple, second apple, third apple. So that means no time gap between the consumption of one commodity to other commodities. So these are the assumptions. So law of diminishing marginal utility depends upon a few assumptions. So already we observed in economics, in our economics, every theory or every principle or every law depends upon some assumption. So when we accept this assumption, we can easily observe law of diminishing marginal utility. So this is observation. So tomorrow I expect other.